My family is gone. Taken from me right before my eyes. Ripped away like flesh from bone. My wife, my daughter, dead. And the police, they think it was me. Like I could ever do something so monstrous. Like I would ever hurt the people I loved more than anything in this world. How dare they accuse me of such horror? I thought I heard something just now. A faint noise outside my motel room. Someone lurking, watching. He's still out there, the one who did this, the one who framed me. And I think he's saving me for last. I know he's close. I can feel it. He took everything from me, but no one will believe me. Maybe you will. I just need someone to listen, to understand. Let me tell you what happened. We weren't doing great before all this. You know how families fight? How tension lingers in the air after a disagreement? Our latest one was about a school trip. My daughter wanted $60 for some museum visit, but money was tight. I've been working myself to the bone, 12-hour shifts, overtime, pushing my body past exhaustion just to keep us afloat. But we were still drowning. Bills, groceries, clothes, insurance, mortgage. The weight of it all crushed me every single day. I told her no. We couldn't afford it. That was final. My wife didn't agree. She insisted we could spare the money, and suddenly, I was the villain. Both of them shut me out. I got the cold shoulder all day. When I came home that evening after another grueling shift, I wasn't surprised. My daughter was in the living room, hunched over her schoolwork at the coffee table, papers scattered everywhere. Her backpack sat on my chair. She didn't look up when I walked in. From the kitchen, my wife barely glanced at me. "Hey, how was work?" I walked past my daughter into the kitchen and kissed my wife. She kissed me back, but there was nothing behind it. No warmth, no love. "Long," I muttered, pulling off my steel-toe boots. "How's dinner coming?" "It's coming," she said, stirring a pot. "Did you go to the store?" A jab, a subtle, cutting reminder that she was unhappy, that I was failing. "No," I sighed. I was too tired. She exhaled sharply, gripping the spoon tighter. "Well then, it's soup again tonight. I don't have the ingredients for anything else." I hated that soup. I hated going to the food pantry to get it. She knew that. She knew I despised the reminder that I couldn't provide for my family the way I should. And yet, here she was, twisting the knife deeper. "I'm sorry," I said, trying to keep my voice even. "I was at work all day. And I was home all day," she said, voice flat. "But that's not work, right?" Her words stung more than they should have. "That's not what I meant," I said softly. She didn't answer. I let out a slow breath and sat at the dining table. I was too exhausted to fight. After a few moments, I moved to the living room. My daughter still wouldn't look at me. "Hey, kiddo," I said, forcing some cheer into my voice. "Hi, Dad," barely above a whisper. "What are you working on?" "Schoolwork?" Dry, emotionless. She had been pulling away from me for a while now. Gone were the days of Daddy's little girl. Now, she was distant, quiet, afraid. I knelt beside her, lowering my voice. "Come on, sweetheart. Give me more than one-word answers. I missed you today." She stiffened, her fingers tightening around her pencil. "Kiddo, I'm your dad. I just want to talk to you." Her shoulders trembled. She was holding back tears. "Can I go to my room?" she whispered. That hurt. "Why?" My voice dropped, my patience wearing thin. "Why won't you just talk to me?" She swallowed hard, blinking rapidly. I don't know how." My wife cut in. "She's had a long day. Just let her go." I clenched my jaw. "Oh, so you get to hear about her day, but I don't?" Before I could say more, another bang, this time louder. The whole house shook. My daughter flinched. My wife let out a small yelp. Cursing under my breath, I stormed outside, and I saw him. A man stood near our trash bins, garbage strewn around him. His back was to me. He wore a Carhartt shirt, jeans and steel-toe boots, clothes that could have been mine. His hands were swollen, bloody, like he'd been punching something. It's not right, you know," he muttered. "What?" I snapped. "Who the hell are you?" He ignored me. "You work so hard for them. You give them everything, and they don't even care. Shut the hell up. They don't love you. They don't appreciate you. They use you, and you let them." I clenched my fists. He was wrong. He had to be wrong. "I love them," I hissed. "But do they love you?" He turned, and I saw his face. my face. Tired, hollow, oily hair, bloodshot eyes, cracked lips. His mouth curled into a sneer. You give, and what do you get? Disrespect, fear. You're not enough for them. My heart thundered. My pulse roared in my ears. He lifted his hand. A kitchen knife gleamed in the light. I tried to move. I couldn't. Like a puppet with cut strings, I was frozen. He walked past me, toward my house. My body refused to follow. Through the window, I watched in horror. He stormed inside. My wife screamed. The soup pot crashed against the wall. Then steel met flesh. Bones snapped, blood splattered. My daughter sobbed. "Why won't you talk to me?" Her screams cut off. Then silence. When the back door creaked open again, he stepped out drenched in red. He walked toward me, slow, deliberate. I still couldn't move. He grabbed my arms, scratched them, smeared their blood onto my hands. Then, he switched our clothes. The blood-soaked shirt clung to my skin. He pressed the knife into my hand. And then, he was gone. Just gone. When my body finally obeyed me again, I ran. I got in my car and just kept driving. Now I'm here, hiding in this motel room. And I know they're coming. If the police find me, it's over. I didn't do it. I couldn't have. Right? Loud banging on the door. And this time, I know it's not the police. I woke up to a crime I didn't commit. I woke up with a jolt. My head was pounding, my throat dry as sandpaper. A strong, metallic scent filled the air. Something sticky clung to my hands. I blinked, trying to clear my blurred vision. That's when I saw it. The bed, the sheets, the floor, all covered in blood. My breath caught in my throat, and my heart slammed against my ribs as I scrambled backward. My foot slipped on something wet, and I crashed into the nightstand, knocking over a glass of water. The sound of shattering glass jolted me further awake. I looked down at myself. My shirt soaked in blood. My hands red. This isn't real. It can't be real. I took a shaky breath, forcing myself to scan the room. Everything looked the same. The walls, the furniture, the bed. This was my apartment. This was my bed. But this wasn't my reality. I turned to the nightstand. My phone was there. Its screen cracked from the fall. I grabbed it, my fingers trembling as I unlocked it. 27 missed calls, 13 unread messages. A knot tightened in my stomach as I opened the first message. "Where are you? People are saying you did it." I swallowed hard and opened another. "Answer me, please. You need to tell them it wasn't you." A knock at the door. I froze. My breath hitched. Another knock, louder, more forceful. I stepped toward the peephole, my heart racing. I peeked outside. Flashing red and blue lights painted the walls. The police, they were here. For me. I needed to think. I needed to move. I backed away from the door, grabbed the nearest piece of clothing, and wiped my hands, my arms, my face. But no matter how hard I scrubbed, the blood wouldn't disappear. The sirens outside grew louder. My pulse was racing as I scanned the apartment, desperate for something, anything, to prove this wasn't real. That this was some kind of nightmare. Then my eyes landed on my laptop. It was still open on my desk. A video was playing. I hesitated, then stepped closer. My stomach dropped. It was a man who looked like me. But it wasn't me. The screen showed security footage from last night. A guy with my height, my hair, my posture, but his face was slightly different. A small scar under his eye. A wider, more forced smile. His eyes had a strange glint to them. I watched, my entire body frozen in horror. The man impersonating me pulled out a knife. A second later, another man walked into the frame. He looked surprised at first, then terrified. He raised his hands, stepping backward, and then the killer stabbed him again. and again, and again. Blood pooled at his feet. The timestamp in the corner flickered. 2:47 a.m. I turned to the clock on my wall. 6:13 a.m. I wasn't there, but he looked almost exactly like me. The knocking turned into violent pounding. They were about to break the door down. Panic clouded my thoughts, but my body moved on instinct. I grabbed my jacket, rushed to the window, and climbed onto the fire escape. As I climbed down, my mind raced. Who was that guy? How did he steal my identity? How did he live as me? My feet hit the pavement and I ran. I needed to find someone who would believe me. Someone who could help me. Then my phone buzzed in my pocket. A new message. From my own number. Took you long enough, but it's over now. The cops are at your door. Before I could even react, a police megaphone echoed through the streets. Stop right there. Put your hands up. I froze, my entire body turning cold. I looked up. He was standing in the distance, watching me, the real killer, the man who stole my identity. He was handcuffed, surrounded by officers, but before they put him in the police car, he turned his head toward me and smiled. A cold, knowing smile, like he had won. Hours of questioning later, the truth was finally revealed. The man who impersonated me was a professional con artist, a forger, and a serial killer. He stole random people's identities, lived as them, and committed crimes under their names. And I was just his latest victim. Thankfully, the police figured out his deception before he could escape, but even now, I still feel the fear, because he managed to live my life for a while. And I can't help but wonder, is someone else doing the same thing right now? Who's the next victim? But before you close the video, what would you do if you woke up to a crime you didn't commit? What if the police thought you were the killer? These chilling true crime stories will keep you on the edge of your seat. If you enjoyed this terrifying journey into the unknown, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to never miss out on more bone-chilling tales. And I want to hear from you. Have you ever felt like someone was framing you? Leave a comment below and share your thoughts. Let's discuss these twisted cases together.